Trizooka has put the entire Splatoon community into absolute shambles. So today, for all the people who don't know what's going on, I'm gonna try my best to clear up everything. If you guys think I missed anything or could have been wrong about something, let me know in the comments. I look forward to seeing you guys give me feedback. If you enjoyed the vid, consider dropping a sub. So before we look into all the drama, let's go over this special first. Trizooka is a special that shoots out huge ink explosions 3 times. A direct hit is insta-kill and the splash damage does 60. It's got fairly slow startup, but a very loud sound that you hear before you're able to shoot. You're still as vulnerable as a player, but you're way stronger. And you have a huge hitbox on the explosions. And that's kinda it. It's a fairly simple special, but very strong. At the time it was in the middle of the tier list since Crab and Inkjet were the meta specials, and the thing just didn't have very impactful buffs at the time. This thing was kinda mid for the most part until now. So let's have this section to talk about the buffs it got. It won't be long, but one buff will be a huge rise of this special. The first one is a bug fix, so we're gonna kinda skip past this one, but if you wanna know what it did, it fixed where basically the special could deal damage through walls, specifically the thin walls. I guess you would call this a nerf, but Nintendo kinda has to fix bugs like this, so we can't really get too mad at this one. The second kinda nerf is where the enemy team can now hear the trizooka better, where your team can't hear it as well. I called this a nerf since it's useful for the enemy team but not useful for your team, assuming that you're the user of trizooka. But now, let's get to the buffs. The first buff was the damage dealt to the crab tank, increased by 20%. Since crab was at some point a pretty big deal in the meta, and the trizooka couldn't really counter it, so this was a fairly reasonable buff. But the second buff we got was a game changer. The buff of the splash damage, 40 to 60. This was huge for this thing. It made it way more reliable, it made some great combos, and it was pretty farmable thanks to the weapons it was on. More on that later. This made the special more usable and winning to run since it was able to do some real damage now. And with all the buffs and nerfs it got, just by looking at it now, it might just look normal to you. So now you might be wondering, why am I even making this video? Well, it's because of this tweet right here on screen from a pretty well-known Splatuber, Zorkonic. He made a tweet on how there is no way to predict or react to that trizooka shot. Now on paper this might just be a tweet, but yeah, this is how it all started. So now let's look into why this community is like this now. So first, let's talk about the spammability. On the weapons this thing is on, it is very easy to farm this special, with the weapons this thing being on being really good too. The splatter shot, the sloshing machine Neo, the squeezer, and those are the top picks. That is one of, if not the best weapon in the game right now. Sloshing machine is straight up solid, and the squeezer's got the best main weapon in the game. I can see why people dislike this too. It can be really frustrating just to have easy weapons that are able to farm the special, and get no-scoped out of the blue. This reason still makes some amount of sense. If I were them, I would hate to be in triple shot meta, so I can see why they're a little bit mad about this. Next, let's talk about the startup. Now for a little bit, I'm gonna be on the side of people who agree with Zorkonic. I would be pretty mad if I just had that happen to me. And for other people who are saying, skill issue, how about you try? I'm playing. On this tweet, I feel like we were a little bit hard on the guy. I feel like we can be a little bit more chill about it. But this is one of the other issues people have with this special. Yeah, sure, it's scary, but it's loud, so you'll be able to see it coming. Last, let's talk about the meta. The current environment that we're in apparently isn't really healthy right now. I just made a video about how the meta was amazing, and it's kind of repeating flashbacks. Some terrible flashbacks. Inkjet and Tactical. Tactical can really make this special thrive even more and make it pretty deadly, and Inkjet can work really well with it. So there is a very brief explanation on what's going on. If you enjoyed, subscribe.